I'm Lauren. It's such a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be teaching for Bene Mudra. Again, it's been a little while. None of you have worked with me before, so I will preface this workshop by saying, like, I'm a bopper. You know, I bop around. I'm a Sagittarius Gemini, so I'm like, I bop. It's like jazz, but I bring it back. Here's somebody, Jan. And so what this is going to be is I'm gonna talk for a little while, or lecture, if you will. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Hi, Jan. And I will get to them if I can. I want to do a really nice meditation at the end for leaving the old, i.e. 2021, the old lunar new year, and ushering in the new astrological new year for abundance. It's not long, but it's a little long. So, you know, just feel free to just reach out to me. And I'm going to talk about, so we have a full moon in Virgo coming up in the early morning hours of the 18th. I wanted to do this kind of on the eve of, just so that we could really relax into harnessing this energy. Because honestly, I mean, it's different with COVID. Our lives have shifted so much. I still am home a lot more, but I don't want to take a course on the night of the full moon. Like, it might be super emotional. It might be like time to howl at the moon. And I don't always want to do that personally. So I wanted to offer you guys this early, so you can be wherever you are, you know, tomorrow and the next day, and use it well. And I'm also going to talk about, this isn't an equinox class, but it's sort of a combo, because we have, you know, we have this full moon. It's a complex full moon. And then we have a couple days later, the spring equinox, which is the beginning of the Astro New Year. We have the sun leaving Pisces and going into Aries. It's a lot. And it's also like a lot in the world right now, and a lot in the US. So I'm going to kind of just, you know, riff on that. And, you know, I want to stress, like, the Aries equinox is so moving and so helpful, because it is a time of initiation, commitment, and breakthroughs. Aries is the baby of the astrological zodiac. So Aries is the most, it's like if you put a newborn baby and just let it, well, not a newborn, but if you put a baby and let it crawl without any buffers, this baby will crawl anywhere. Never mind that it would get hurt, but it would just crawl where it wanted to go, which would make that energy very pioneering and trailblazing. Like, that young in energy, does not give a fuck, you know, and it just kind of goes anyway, as compared to Pisces, that is actually huge and bountiful, the most huge and the most bountiful. But Pisces also has totally become merged with the infinite by the time you go around that circle, and is carrying everything that came before it. Aries isn't like that. So Aries are a lot like, you know, there are several signs of the zodiac that are idea people. It also can be any sign, and the house that you know, that this energy is for. So whenever anyone's like, my boyfriend's a Capricorn, is that okay? It's like, yeah, it's great. You know, there's more factors that go into that, but it's really, really pioneering and trailblazing. So we can take an oath in terms of our pursuit, our personal pursuits, and our pursuits in spirituality. But there's like a pop, the emoji that's like fire, but not the hot fire, that's like pop. That's what Aries is. So we're planting the seeds for our future that will be amplified on that day, you know, which is a couple days after the full moon. And so it's really, really perfect. So, and we have some complex aspects. I'm going to give you, you know, the bountiful, you know, fun stuff, and the harder stuff, which isn't a guarantee. I want to be clear about this, because you know, I read a lot of astrology, you know, friends that write, and I'm a practicing spiritual teacher. So, you know, so I've come to know what I'm about to say, but I think that reading stuff or hearing stuff can be really scary when it's about the planets. Because if I hear something weird about me or about the thing, it can frighten me, and then I can react or kind of let anxiety brew pre about what I've heard. And I think it's real, like I like to speak on general astrology and astrology of, you know, what's affecting all of us and this country right now, obviously, you know, for this workshop. But it's just a really good idea, like with personal astrology, to take what you like and leave the rest. Not like, you know, I mean, to take what resonates and kind of focus on that and integrate. If something says, hey, you know, these energies are afoot. So, you know, one of the reasons why I fell in love with astrology is because my life, I got hit in every possible way, you know, like 13 years ago. And I wanted to know what was going on. And the answers were like rough, you know, like where my chart was and the chart was. But what helped me so much was knowing that like something had a name. It was like Uranus square Pluto, like something had a name and something had an end. Even if it wasn't as fast as I wanted it to be, it actually helped me to know, like, you know, so these are some big aspects I'm going to talk about. But in terms of like this moon and what's going on, these are, you know, shorter lived aspects that are being amplified. But it always helps me to know, like, okay, watch you know, I might be extremely anxious. You know, some full moons, I'm literally prostrate to my carpet and I'm like, you know, like, I'm like, it ignites so much. Sometimes it ignites such bombastic, like artistic energy. And sometimes it's, you know, it's completely devastating, but because I need to get to the other side, you know. And I think women carry the hearts and wombs of all women with them. And, you know, it's just the shift, the great shift is being highlighted right now. So the full moon is you know, the new moon is traditionally the time for going under and doing work. And the full moon is to kind of realize those intentions or gather them, like, you know, gather them, you know, fully to be released, and to kind of howl at the moon. So when I say take what you like and read the rest, I mean, health, no fear, you know, healthy, you know, just like, okay, you know, because this one is, it's not good and bad. This one is intense, bountiful and intense, like, you know, energy tricky. And there's anxiety is highlighted. It's like my moon cycle every month. Knowing what it is and where things might be correlative to my emotional situation and my food situation and my, you know, the whole thing, it doesn't necessarily stop me from experiencing my hormones as very, very real and very, very intensely. But if I remember what it is, I can be in the feelings, but maybe not go over the line. And it's kind of like that with astrology. It's like, if I know, you know, you know, Mars is going to do something crazy that day, like, you know, it's good to know. And also, if I'm meant to forget, I will. I was in a relationship 2 years ago, and there was a Mars aspect right in the middle of November, and I taught about it and I forgot and I burned it down. And you know what? It was burnable and it was meant to be burned. You know, so it's kind of that. It's like I love talking about astrology in this way because we're dancing with the divine, which is the plan, and we're dancing with free will and the divine will, and that's what makes it like so fun to do this and mysterious. So we're also like you can't mess it up, which is really cool. So this is definitely a full moon with blessings. The sun is in Pisces and the moon is in Virgo. Very different energies, but the Pisces sun is really encouraging dreams and really encouraging inspiration. And I mean dream, like sleep dreams, but also like playing small is done, you know, those kind of dreams. So anytime Pisces moon is activated, this is Virgo moon, or Pisces sun the entire month, it's extremely lucky, you know, to tune, and easy to tune into one's infinite space and like actual sleep dreams. Like sleep is an important time for Pisces, and the veil is quite thin. It's different thin than Scorpio, but the veil, as I said, like we're kind of merged with God or creator or the universe at this point. So the downsides to Pisces, when there's a lot of Pisces, and there are several planets in Pisces right now, is Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune is like, you know, Neptune's, you know, Neptune's bountiful and sexy and deep, and the deep end of the ocean. And like Los Angeles is Neptunian. The movies are Neptune. It's like, it's a beautiful illusion. It's real, but it's an illusion, and what you see is not what you get. It's smoke and mirrors. It's gorgeous. It's gone. It's like, it's a very complex energy. And I don't want to say negative, but for the purpose of what I'm trying to communicate, fog and confusion are afoot when Neptune's there. Like, you just have to be careful with him. You know, it's just, that's what, because it seems like it's like Disneyland for the spirit only, and it's actually a lot more complex than that. And he's ushering in Pluto, which is the least light energy, you know, not light filled, which is the most heavy, serious energy I can possibly think of in the planets, in this planet system. So several planets in Pisces. It is a great time. Like, our intuition is always there to serve us, but this is a great portal up through the equinox. I mean, it really lasts a couple days after the equinox, but pre-full moon and a couple days post. Like, if you, however you speak to the divine, like whatever that is for you, if it's the trees, if it's God, it doesn't matter. If it's like the music of Bob Dylan, it truly doesn't matter. But if you ask, you will get like, you were much closer to our intuition right now. So doing what you need to do to serve yourself, which means like literally giving yourself anything that you want, but also the gift of silence. Like, the divine is in the pause always, but is very available right now. So there's a possibility in this kind of portal week to ask what I should do next, and then just do it. You know, there's like this, you know, and not if it says, you know, like, you know what I mean? It's only but just like, what should I do next? And I mean, in terms of inspiration, like, do you have a weird idea about doing a half-hour comedy special, even though like you've only done stand-up a couple times, or like you never have even done that? Like set an alarm for 20 minutes and let the divine be the divine. It's a really easy time for that. It's kind of like it's a time that invites in Pisces, Aries, like the idea that the whole universe is waiting to serve you if you would just be you. And so that energy is just really available. So we also have the Virgo moon, which is sort of like, it's the opposite energy. It's very grounded. It's very physical. Pisces Neptune is like gone. You know, we're like in the deepest reaches of the ocean and the skies. And Virgo is the least tethered earth. Taurus and Capricorn are, man, they are earth. My parents were Capricorn and Taurus. It's like, whoa. And if any of you have earth strong in your chart, you speak a different language than the rest of us. Like, there's a tethering to it's like, you're the real hippies, even if you're not a hippie at all. It's like, that's the real tree huggers. It's like, you cannot not be tethered to the planet. And you know, Virgo's virtue and liability is perfectionism, because there's no such thing. But like, if anyone can attain it, it's like Virgo. You know, it's a tricky thing. It's like the opposite of perfectionism is creativity and is trusting God. But there's a really miracle way that the Virgo energy seeks, you know, the highest. And but she seeks that by surrendering to order, by being in touch with green, plants and um, routine and self-care. Connected to this Pisces sun, it's about water. Um, I know a couple of you guys are in LA. I mean, I'm blessed enough to live near the ocean, but I mean, take a bath, like if you're not a bath person, um, just, I don't know, put your hands in a bowl of water, just do something sweet for yourself and get in the grass for 5 minutes. You'd probably love it so much that you'd go beyond that, but like set your phone alarm for 5 minutes, feet in the grass or the sand. It really is. It's like, it serves as like and this is not new information, but I need to kind of remember it myself. It serves as like a charging pad, like a cell phone charging pad for our bodies. So we get this like energy from up here and then into the earth. So Virgo is really grounding us in the physical, and it's helping to ground our thoughts and ideas into structure and organization that can aid us into greater balance. That is marrying the Pisces, which is like the divine speaking to us. So it's a great time to kind of first surrender to the Virgoian qualities that kind of can help us through the fog. There's a song by Stevie Nicks. It's on the album Tusk, the Fleetwood Mac album Tusk. Yes. And it's called Angel, and it's so great. It sounds like an old dance hall song, but she talks like she has this recurring line about like the ghost through a fog, and it's really a lovely song to kind of like listen to now, because she gets the aspect of kind of like Neptune and Pisces. And so it's like you listen to that vibe and then you're like, oh, how can I surrender to order? Just the idea of like, we can ask to relax and take it easy, and that asking is the key to, is the key to the kingdom. Like if I say heaven, I mean, if I don't want to trigger anyone, if you're religious, that's amazing. I'm spirit. It's like, but the kingdom of heaven is within, the New Jerusalem is within. And if I ask, I actually always get it. But like the human condition is just like, we're just built to think that things have to be harder. And like, we're also carrying all this generational stuff of like, you got to work hard, or, it doesn't get to be fun, or, you don't get money if you don't. And so we're dismantling that, an act at a time, a thought act at a time, and a surrender at a time. And if the full moon brings any of you to your knees, and whatever that means, like, the opportunity to surrender is afoot. And if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. It's like you can ask to surrender to surrender. And then there's like, and if you're really in it, not, this is any time, but this moon, last time I was fine. The time before I was like, some of these, the way it hits our charts, it really can feel like it's an undoing, which is also a flip side of Pisces. It's naturally ruled by the 12th house, which is the house of like the occult and mystery and the psyche and psychology and anything mystical. And it's also the house of the undoing, suicide, addiction, heroin, that kind of thing. And because it's proportional, like as above, so below exists for everything ever. The same way that like we need an underworld in order for there to be a world, we need an undercrust in order for there to be above the crust. So if we look at it in terms of harmony, it can really help. So we're developing routines that will ground and center us for the astrological new year. And also, so the full moon and sun both are in this very tight but harmonious aspect to Pluto, which is intensifying the transformative force of the lunation. I mean, but good, where Pluto is, there is change. It's not like the Pluto change is not like, oh, well, I changed a few things around in my schedule, and like now I take, my daughter to dance. I dance on Wednesdays. It's like, not that that's light. It's the kind of change that you don't come back from. That's not bad. It's just like, and it also can be like there's a picture on the book or like the movie for The Road, the Cormac McCarthy's The Road, where it's like Viggo Mortensen and his son like walking down the dust path after the apocalypse. It's like that's kind of Pluto when he's done with you, like if he's really messing with you and like and the world. So one of the reasons why he moves this aspect, like the sun and the moon move quickly, so this isn't like plaguing us for days and days and days. As Americans though, if everybody is in the United States right now or connected to the energy of the United States, in the last 2 weeks, pardon me, the last 3 weeks, Pluto has had the US has had what is called its Pluto return, the first time ever, meaning Pluto is back in the same place in the US's chart that it was for the first time since July 4th, 1776. I'm actually not clear. I think that's the date that they use, which is like actual Independence Day, as opposed to 1789 or whatever. You know, we don't need to go on a, guys don't need to hear me on a jag about early, the framers. But anyway, it's a very big deal. And Pluto moves so slowly, hence it taking 243 years to go around. You know, that energy has approached for years. It hits and activates, and its fullness is felt for years, and the repercussions, you know, the results are felt for years. It's as transformative as it gets, and it's like that energy in the last 2 years where it's like, we live in white supremacy. Like we're not, like we're out, the trance has popped, like we're in white supremacy, like we, you know, like no, we're not doing this anymore. Or like, no, you know, the systems are being exposed for what they truly are, with this, like, no, we're not going back, you know, we're not, you know. And I think, you know, I want to be careful because I'm very clear, like, I don't know, we're all women here and there's a lot of scary things happening right now. And I am very affected by them. You know, part of me is deeply involved and part of me tries not to sit in it too much because what I can do from here is like be light filled and support women and do my thing. But when I look at some of the things that are happening, it's kind of like it's the last vestige of the Piscean age. A 26,000 year cycle just ended, a 13,000 year cycle just ended, and a 2150 year cycle just ended. And the age of Pisces was about man and the patriarchy, and the men didn't even want it, but like it's a whole thing that kind of got caught up in itself. You know, it's the age of war, and it's also the age of like, if you want to find God, you got to go to the priests, whatever that means. The age of Aquarius is obviously like the hair song says, but and much more, and also more complex, and about if you want to find God, you are the priest. You are. And the idea of like, we're going to live by our souls or else, like, not that we are in these bodies, and that's the Virgo, like we are in these bodies, we're on this earth with bodies that are finite, that need to like go to the bank on Tuesdays and like pay taxes and go to the orthodontist with our kids. But we are married to the 5D now, and becoming married in this very, very abundant, visionary way. Age of Aquarius is the 11th house. It's the house of groups and the collective, and it's visionary. The planet that is connected to it is Uranus, or Uranus, if you will. And it's kind of like, it's a funny joke because it's like, pow, you know, it's like up your butt, you know, it's really like, it's intense, like you don't know what's going to happen energy. So if you ever read or see something and you're like, oh, Uranus is doing this on this day, there's a little bit of like, we don't know what's going to happen. It's kind of like you could open the door and it's Publishers Clearinghouse with the check, or you open the door and like a piano falls on your head. And it doesn't have to be as exaggerated as that, but like Uranus is serious, and he rules the internet, like he rules all of these like higher kind of furthering energies. So that's happening too. And like the next 5 years, this 5-year period is teeming with hard stuff. Like the world is grappling with really hard stuff right now, and like meditation and prayer are very important right now, because there is like the divine will, and then like what humanity is doing with it, and it's a pivotal point. And also in the United States, Pluto, in addition to hitting the US at its first return, is doing so at the very end of his stay in Capricorn. Pluto spends like almost 20 years in each sign, except for Scorpio in the 80s, because he has of course an irregular orbit. Like it's weird, and so it was much less. Um, and what Capricorn is all about. So he's been there since 2008, end of 2007, since the financial crisis, and he's leaving in 2024 early. And what he's leaving Capricorn for Aquarius. That's going to be the moment. That is the moment. What does Capricorn rule, where Pluto currently is hitting the US and also the world at large, is structure, government order, bones, girders, the way things are built, the patriarchal hierarchy, the nuts and bolts, like government structures, buildings, the subway stations, like, that kind of thing, bridges. And but like really the like the structures that were healthcare systems, that kind of thing. So we can expect the next couple of years to be really like, he goes out with a bang. And like, I think what is happening, there's like a combo of these new energies are coming in. They come in with gusto and they take their time, which is why they're very difficult to predict, and they're very felt. And at the same time, it's brand new. So we have the last vestiges of the Piscean age, like these dumb white men on the Supreme Court that are like trying to freaking steal from us, at the greatest level. And like, I don't know what the prescription is, except to just emit light in the way that we are called to, and hold space for each other. But that is how, these things that don't make sense anymore, you're like, what? Like, it's so ridiculous, some of this hard stuff that's happening right now. It's like all the jokes where it's like, wait, they just made The Handmaid's Tale into a movie. Like, are you serious right now? Like, it's literally 2022. And so it's one of those things where like, it's a combo of like, we have to see what is like butt heinous gone in order to let it go. And also, a dying animal is more dangerous when it knows it's dying. There's a terrible imagery, but when you that kind of imagery in like William Blake or whatever, where it's like, it's just dangerous, so it goes on a last stand. And so the thing is like kind of bringing it back to Neptune energies. And astrology is not hard. It's just about layering. So I kind of say things and say them again, and whatever you take in is what you're meant to take in. Is we can see through the fog in terms of these energies, and also like release. That's how I was able to release like the absurdity and atrocities that have happened, in this country, in the last years, and and everywhere. So everyone is experiencing Neptune. Everyone is experiencing the fog, and Neptune is about projection. Neptune is about a mirror, and something to meditate on. This is deep six kind of base. It's like basic but also esoteric cosmology, that we are actually seeing our world, each of us, as a mirror. Like, it's actually flipped. So reality, this is like, I'm going in, guys. I feel like I need to, and I want to. Reality is the space in between, right here. And there's this, and then there's us, and then there's the mirror. And so to actually kind of meditate, or take a walk, or fall asleep, even if it's for 10 seconds or 30 seconds, on like what that is really going into like love of self with the capital S, mankind, and like what is actual reality. and actual reality is love. It's not, it's not necessarily neutrality. It's just love itself. So that's a good way that I access it. So, and a good way, it's that magic kind of mixture of self-care and like, allowing ourselves to go out there and, and surrendering. I keep saying surrender to order, because it feels like Virgo is sixth house energy. And it's the house of the apprentice and the house of plants, animals, home, routine, not home, like how we keep our homes. And it just seems like it's great, but it just seems like not sexy. It's like, oh, like the sixth house, like it's just like, who, like, why, and it's like, well, why? Because it's essential, but like, how do I feel great about this? It's like, well, if I meditate for 20 minutes every morning and make that like a gentle, I don't like non-negotiable because I think we're mean to ourselves, especially women, but like if I make that a priority, I have even more time. Like if I surrender, it's like surrendering to something greater than me makes me free. And it's like surrendering to, to a schedule, or a schedule shift for self-care actually makes me free, even though my anxiety is teaching me that I have too much to do and that I need to put those things first. The greatest lesson I can actually, one of the greatest lessons I can impart, because I need it so much myself, is that number one is actually relax for everybody, but like, I mean, especially for women, but number one is relax, and then like, and then number two is creativity, or whatever the vision is, whatever vision is going on for you. And it's, everything's creative. If you're wanting to design a house, or if you're, I don't know, I don't know what it is. I know what mine are, but and then number three is like what we have to do. And when times are harder or more challenging, that list order doesn't change, but we want to change it. Like if I don't feel like I have enough money, I feel like earning has to come first, but really like the universe comes first and relaxing comes first, because only when I relax can I allow. And for a lot of years I confused relaxing with like watching too much TV, watching Netflix, or watching too much TV. It can be those things, but relaxing is like it. There's not much ego projection in relaxing, which is why it's so special. But it can be, the things we think of, like a coffee date with yourself, like, watching a show. But I can't. I'm a filmmaker, and so like I don't want. There's very little that I watch that isn't part of like my soul and my work. So I have to watch like, I don't know. Even the doctor shows, I'm too into the medicine. Like there's nothing that is greater medicine for me than film and art, but it is not necessarily relaxing because of the concentration that I practice. But maybe it is for some of you, and and could be just like laying on your butt and scrolling with your phone. But really relaxing is a surrender, and like it is the key, because that is when it can come in. Like that's when we can listen to the voice, and like, when like the prosperity and abundance and the true nature of things is in the pause. And like not a lot is teaching us to pause these days. There's just always invitation for more anxiety, and the more full our lives get, the more that becomes true. It's kind of like more money, more problems. It's like the bigger my life gets, the stakes are different. It's like, there's more, or the perception of the stakes are different. So I'm moving, it's like as our again, going into deep cosmology, as our lives are kind of like, going like this, like we are descending a staircase. We are, our knowledge and wisdom and ways of being, we are going up a staircase. But it takes contrary actions and conscious actions to actually move up the staircase. And there are intervals after every couple of stairs, couple of stairs. And those intervals are not a joke. It's kind of like Steve Jobs. It's just an example. It's like he created Apple. He had his company taken from him by the board of directors in the late 80s. Like he lost his company for a few years, then he like dug in, and then he came out with iMac, and like, you know, I mean, he passed away at a young age. That was his plan, his life plan. But it's like, you know, and I know she's gotten into some tricky stuff lately. It's like, well, it's like Oprah, everybody knows her journey. It's like, it takes to get to where you're living. You know, the explosions get bigger, but we get better at dealing with them. Our foundation gets stronger the more we know what we're doing is actually a game. Not that it's not serious, but that like, it's the game of life. And, you know, the yeses are the same as the no, you know, and it's like the yeses are the same as the nos. And it's kind of like I'm on a football field, and like if something comes at me, it's like run at me, you know. And I absolutely don't have that stillness all the time, because if I did, I wouldn't be human. I would be molecularly floating through the air. Like, we're in these bodies to have anxiety and to need to surrender. And I think that's part of there's many reasons why the human realm is such a challenge, because we can get really like, enlightenment is an option to work towards. And there's this deeply humbling thing about like, I'm in a body, this, you know, and I don't know what's going to happen. I could get hit, you know, like it could go at any minute. And on some level, I think we all know that. So anyway, in terms of, you know, in terms of the moon, we also have Venus and Mars very tightly conjunct to Aquarius, squaring Uranus. That's kind of like the anything can happen thing. Anything you can think of is possible, which is why I like it for dreams and vision. You know, Venus isn't just love, you know, as we know it, like Eros and Athena, you know, and the not Athena, but you know, the Cupid and all of that. It's how we love ourselves, and like what we really need to be loved, or to love or be loved. Like it's quite heavy, which is why Venus retrograde periods, they're the least common. They happen the least often, and they're really deep. Like, she goes in, and we go in. So that's, and then, you know, and then Mars is that kind of more bombastic Aries energy, where it's, you know, it's just the alpha energy, and it's like, you know, how we fight, and what we fight for, and you know, what is connected to you know, healthy aggression and taking a stand, and also where our anger lies. Virgo likes to know, so to make the most of this, like likes to really know. You want to think optimistically and have an open mind. It's not a platitude. It's just, this is you know, this is the anxiety part, and to be open to disabling anxiety and disabling self-undoing is a great opportunity right now. That said, so we're all susceptible to that kind, you know, that kind of maelstrom of anxiety and the option to turn it over. Pisces is associated with avoidance big time. So you know, it's just that's kind of the negative manifestation of this energy. How I work with almost all energy and my feelings, that has been revolutionary for me in the last couple of years, is I remain aware as often as possible that everything that's not great is blocked energy. So if I feel anxious, it's not to like, if you're meditating and someone says to clear your mind, that's impossible. Like if I feel anxious, like there's an unhealthy, like I can get on that train and ride it all the way into like, you know, the Trans-Siberian Railroad, and like act as if like my whole emotions are tied to those feelings, and like see that through. And that's really dangerous. That's, you know, what I did for 35 years. But now the opportunity that I have with blocked energy and with feelings as they come up is to trust that they are safely heard and felt and witnessed by the divine or the universe, and it is safe and healthy for me to let them out. And that's kind of the like how that's my howling at the moon period. But also I love it for this full moon, that what I get to do now is I do it safely. It's like I'm human, we are all human, we're going to yell in the grocery store, but like it's not it's not coming out in a way that is if I can help it, that is unhealthy. The universe already knows everything about me, and no one knows me as well as the universe and I know me, and I am safe in the universe. So that it is vitally important. Like, you take a pillow, you can close the doors to your bedroom. If you have neighbors, you can whisper, punch, and you punch the pillow and just let it out. It's much the same way as, sobbing sucks because we're doing it because we're in pain. But then at the end, like, you've done something, you're like, okay, gonna get a tea, I don't know, you're like, all right, it's like there's something has passed through, and that blocked energy is no longer there. And to just like, whether it's saying out loud, like, I feel shame that I even think this, but here it is, or like, there's like a bypassing that our bodies do very naturally, which is like, intellectually we know what the higher place is, but we don't pass through the second, third, fourth, fifth chakra. Like, I'm very good at going from like the bottom of chakra 1 to 7. Like, I'm great with God, I'm great with these realms, but I have to feel it. I have to feel it and and that's actually how to heal from trauma, like in my opinion. It's like, because you got to feel it and get it out, so that it can, so that like we can repattern our brains. And so, because it needs its day, like that's what parts work is about. And it's like, it just needs its day. And to trust that the universe can hold what I perceive as ugliness or fear or anger. It's like, I'm not saying it to the person. I don't have to be, there is no perfection. It's that privacy. And so that's, it's a really, really great time to do that. And we also have, like, we have today and tomorrow a little placement. I just wanted to say, I mean, there's so many placements, and that's one of the things that's challenging about astrology, because you're like, what the hell? Like, what do I focus on? I don't know what this asteroid is. It's a lot. And the thing will find you, and it's impossible to know. I always want to know, and so does Virgo. There's a asteroid that's being aspected that's really connected to caretaking, and it's a good time to kind of devote our desires to something that is meaningful or humanitarian or caretaking in a way. Virgo is also that 6th house I mentioned. That's also the house of caretaking. All of these things we can see what the flip side is. I spent decades taking care of sick parents, and like that was part of my mission in life. But like I have a lot of 6th house stuff. And so it's like everything, sometimes an asset is right over the line from a liability. So it's not every liability, every survival skill or character defense isn't like, I robbed the bank. It's like, oh, I didn't know I was stealing time from somebody. I didn't know I was like walking behind somebody on the sidewalk in New York City like a maniac. Like, where am I going? Why am I not showing a reverence for life? Like, and so there's all those questions to ask, but it is a good time to kind of be tuned into caretaking. And it can be in a different way than we think, and that's also an invitation. I'm just going to say a little bit before our meditation about the equinox. Yeah, it's the midpoint between the solstices. As we know, balance, portals of energy, they facilitate deep shifts in awareness. That's why we do practice on those days. And it's also a time to like the fall equinox is about settling accounts and getting like clear on your accounts. And then the vernal equinox is about like opening it up.
I had overheated. I didn't realize how much it was in the sun.
What we want to create or co-create. So this equinox chart is pushing the limits of Venus and Mars to break out of their comfort zone. Venus is seeking comfort in her journey to love and be loved and make shifts in that area. Mars motivates movement and aggression, and Venus and Mars attract each other, as we know. And it can be uncomfortable because the effort to integrate the soft receptivity of Venus with the intense, more intense, like offensiveness of Mars, there's discomfort there, but it's like it's actually seeking a place of neutrality. And it's like there are there are many kinds of marriages, and like, Ram Dass has this cool thing where he was like, there's your soul and the other person's soul, and then the soul of the marriage. So it's actually asking us to look at that, whether it's a conventional marriage or romantic relationship or business, or like that is true, that there's me and there's you, but there's also a living thing that is betwixt us both. And what does consciousness look like a minute at a time, or that we want to cultivate, moving forward in those realms. And we also have we also have Uranus hitting those two planets in the equinox. So it's kind of it's offering real breakup of paradigms, radical approaches to integration, and like shifts in terms of how we view our security. Venus also rules security, the container that we hold to create security, like the container that we make that holds security and prosperity. Like if we're not secure, we're not connected to, we're not aware that we're connected to prosperity in an affluent way. That's why, like, there's basic principles that can be described in much varying detail about how easy it is, and people that we know, and maybe ourselves too, at different times, that have made a lot of money, or like received a lot of fruits in the world, and like but couldn't hold on to it, and like that's okay. It's just like really looking at those things. It's uncomfortable, that energy around the equinox with those planets, but it's possibly very uncomfortable. And it's definitely, like, some charts are, it's going to be easy for others. Some full moons you're on the floor, and some, and your friend was like, I was fine, I went to but there's really powerful trajectories for growth. And Jupiter is kind of igniting this chart in a really sweet way. Jupiter is Santa Claus. The only thing that can be troubling about him is he dilates everything that exists, but he dilates so he can make like religious squabble into religious fervor, like, scary for him to be around different things, with the wars that are happening right now, but also like his bountifulness can shift it. He really is a benefic planet, so he's there. So imagination and creative powers is something he is always looking to aid and abet. And so so that is there to be, and you can call upon him, he will listen. So we're going to do a meditation. I did not mention at the end of the class, I didn't realize that he had listed it ending at quarter after. I'm actually teaching another, like it's going to be a little earlier. It's why I'm trying to jam in everything I can. But I'm going to try to give you guys everything I can, and we'll do this nice meditation. But before we do, I'd like to give you a couple of writing prompts. You don't have to do them right now. They're the writing prompts I use as part of my membership, my 1111 membership, and that I use with private clients. And you're welcome. I'm going to maybe just give, I'm going to give each one 30 seconds. If you have a pen and paper and you'd like to work with this, and you can please go in later and kind of adorn what you wrote or read it. But it's just, they're little pops to kind of like, allow your intuitive soul to just kind of speak. So I'm gonna time it. And the first one, and I'll put it in the chat just so that you're not like, sometimes it's hard for me to remember what is said. So the first prompt is, what are the first three words that make your heart sing? No censorship. You're not going to share. You don't have to share. You're not sharing it. It's private. What are the first 3 words that make your heart sing? No censorship. Okay. Prompt number 2. Your soul is always safe. Your soul is always safe. And finally, what song would you play to make you rise like a phoenix? What song would you play to make you rise like a phoenix? Okay. Play it every day for a week. The number of times is not my business. I once drove from New York City to Hershey, Pennsylvania, listening to the same Bob Dylan song. Don't judge. Don't judge my addictive personality. These are prompts that you can come back to. There's a lot more, when in my other program, but I just wanted to kind of lay that down as a, as like a soul and beauty package for you guys for the next couple days. So we're gonna do I Surrender 2021, the year, the lunar year, the astrological year, and welcome the new one with gratitude and in gratitude. So I'm going to put on just a little bit of like binaural music. So it's just, I just want to make sure it's going to be gentle for you guys. Can you guys hear that? A little bit? No? A little bit? Okay. So just get comfortable in a seated position, like whatever that means for you. I recommend cross-legged or feet grounded on the floor, but whatever you need to do to feel good. You're gonna roll your shoulders back. Place your palms facing upwards, either in your lap together or on your knees, and gently close your eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe, call upon the difficult situations that may have happened for you this year. Breathe them in and breathe them out. Gently place your hand on your heart, honoring yourself for all that you've been through. As you breathe in, cultivate a presence of gratitude, a chamber of gratitude for all that you have learned from the most difficult moments this year. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe, redirect your focus onto what you have learned, how you have grown, how you have become new. Don't overthink it. The answers are there. How have you become new? Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. No matter how difficult the issue or circumstance may have been, no matter how you may have been brought to your knees, you have grown from it. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue to focus your attention on all that you've learned, all of the ways you have grown, and even the most difficult circumstances. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Feel the feelings of gratitude for what was, so that you can step into who you want to be. This is alchemy. Feel the feelings of gratitude for what was, so you can step into who you can be. Breathe in, breathe out. Now send that gratitude to someone who you've learned from this year. Maybe it's someone you know, maybe it's a stranger, but they have offered you a learning opportunity. While that experience may not have been easy, it gave you a chance to grow spiritually. Breathe in that feeling of gratitude for what you've learned. Extend that gratitude now. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Take a moment to identify any actions you may not be happy about that you took this year, any actions that you are not proud of. As you witnessed the feelings of what that brings up, forgive yourself. Remind yourself that you were doing the best you could. That is the way. Forgive yourself. Take a moment of gratitude to thank that part of yourself for doing the best they could to get through a difficult year. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Continue to reframe any negative experiences as divine learning opportunities. Everything is divine. As you breathe in and breathe out, let your higher self alchemize any fear from the past, any stories of regret, any feelings of being a victim, and transform them through gratitude and forgiveness. Just continue your cycle of breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in, and breathing out. Gently place both of your hands on your heart, thanking all for the difficult experiences, for revealing to you the miracle of who you are. Thanking all of the difficult experiences for revealing to you the miracle of who you are. Take one last deep breath in and breathe out. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Welcome back. It's a nice meditation. So you've released, you're ready for the new year. And those components can always just be brought in. Just the idea of thanking experiences, some of which we think we're not going to survive sometimes, and just that it's like that Pluto thing. There's a reason why some of the things change us irrevocably, and it's about light and true transformation. We live and die every day, and the purpose, the reason that prompt where your soul is always safe. I appreciate that my soul knows exactly, cannot be led astray, and knows exactly how to be no matter what is going on, and is in a transformation in this life, and has a purpose. So play your song. Definitely play that song. I'm like dying to know what. It's just such a personal question. It's just such an honor to be with all of you, and just burn brightly, go lightly in the next couple of days, and your dreams are on their way. They're already here. And just have fun playing with these energies. And whatever you got from it is perfect. That's the thing. I've been doing this a while, but when I have a reading or I learn about it, I take like one thing, and so it's I hope just give it space to integrate. And it's incredible to be together. I'm going to put my website, which I don't think is on Bene Mudra, just if you want to stay in touch. That is my website. It's not under construction, but there's changes coming, and it has some multidisciplinary art, but also a way to work with me in community and privately. And I have a new program to do that. So it integrates spiritual teaching and music and cinema and abundance. What else do we need? Anyway, it's really been a pleasure to be with you all. And again, I'm sorry for the misprint that it was it said it was going till 1/4 after. I have to teach at 1/4 after. Anyway, much love to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Pleasure be.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thanks, Jan. Love you
Good
guys.
to see you.
Great
Ciao,
to
ciao.
see you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye, Peggy. Bye, Alexis.
Pleasure be.
Much love.